In the spirit of National FFA Month, I am joined by Alexa Tollman, Nebraska FFA State Vice President, originally of the Crawford FFA chapter. Alexa, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So, the last time you and I visited was on stage at Pinnacle Bank Arena shortly after your name was called as a state officer. Give us a big picture overview of everything that's happened since that moment.
So, since we were on the big stage, we had our COLT conference. That's the chapter officer leadership training in May. And so that was right after we were elected. And that was where the chapters brought their officers to Aurora at the Leadership Center. And we had a conference a couple days for them. And that was awesome. I loved that one. And then throughout the summer, we went to Washington, D.C. for a week and did a state summit. And so all of the state officers from across the nation came together and got to learn about advocating for agriculture from the national officers. And then when school started, we had a brand new conference called Ignite, and it was for 7th, 8th, and 9th grade members, and it was a kickoff to FFA, their first experience. And so that was really fun to meet all of those young students excited for FFA. And then we also did our Pathways to Career conference in Kearney, and that was in November. But we had guest speakers come and talk about the different careers in agriculture that these students could learn about and then get an idea for what they might like in agriculture. And then we traveled to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, where we got to celebrate with those national officers that we trained with in the summer and got to meet all of the students again. And that was a lot of fun in Indianapolis. And now we're here.
Wow. Well, that was a very loaded question that I led off with because you've been very busy, no doubt. But you are one of 7 on this year's state officer team. Tell us a little bit about your team's focus and some of your priorities that you worked together on this year.
Yeah, this year we have really focused on the members. The reason we are elected and serving is because of our impact or how FFA has impacted us. And we want to be the ones that allow that impact for other students across Nebraska and to continue the students' growth and the leadership that Nebraska FFA teaches. So we've really focused on member engagement and connecting with those students and hearing from students. It's been so fun traveling the state already and learning from the students and their passion for FFA. Another goal of ours is to just grow ourselves as well in agriculture. As we are leaders in the state, we want to represent agriculture well. And so just learning together more about agriculture and this vast state that we have here. So
Absolutely. Well, you detailed a lot of experiences and travel throughout this year, but what has been the most eye opening either event or interaction you've had so far as a state officer?
I think the state summit that we went to in Washington, D.C. was very eye-opening. Every state runs their FFA program differently, just as every chapter here in Nebraska runs it differently. But just hearing from all of the state officers when we all came together and learned from each other was so cool to learn about their agriculture in their state, but then also how different FFA can be across this nation. And so just learning about all of that was super insightful.
Absolutely. Well, as we run out of time here today, in a few words, what are you most looking forward to about the rest of your term as a Nebraska state officer?
I am really looking forward to meeting students here in chapter visits, which start in a couple days, and get to learn more as I finish out my term as a state officer.
Fantastic. Well, this True Blue salute features Alexa Tollman, Nebraska State FFA Vice President. Alexa, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Rebel.